Welcome to the Manga Forge. If you've ever asked for feedback on your manga, you've probably heard this advice: learn anatomy. Although it's easy advice to give, it's a lot harder to actually learn. Where do you begin? Here are my 4 steps to learning anatomy. First, line quality. I see a lot of beginners draw with messy lines. If you want to learn anatomy, you need to master line quality first. Practice ghosting your lines before actually putting your pencil down and drawing. Also practice using your elbow for a larger range of motion. Only move on to the next step once you can draw circles and squares confidently and cleanly. Now we can move on to 2D shapes. You'll find a link to all the shapes you need to study in the description. The main 2D shapes you'll need to study are the square, circle, and triangle. Move around the model of these shapes and draw them at different angles. This will build your visual library. This might seem boring, but trust me, this is the foundation for learning anatomy. Now we can move into 3D. Same as before, move around the 3D models and draw them at different angles. Before we go into actual anatomy now, let me say this. We're making manga, not going to med school. Although it's helpful to know the name of every muscle and every bone, we don't need to know that, at least not right away. Let's start with the most simplified version of human anatomy, created by using basic 3D shapes that we just drew. The parts in red are the parts that move, bend, and flex. The white parts are solid and won't bend and flex. We can also notice some proportions here. The upper arm is the same length as the lower arm, same with the legs. Also notice how when the arm is to the side of the body, the hand lands halfway down the upper leg. This is a very simplified version to help you picture the anatomy moving in your mind. Now we can get more advanced. If you feel overwhelmed, I have a tip near the end that will help a lot, trust me. Everything is made of 3D shapes in this diagram as well, but they're all more irregular. Let's go down the names of this more advanced anatomy diagram. First we have the head, which I'll be tackling in its own video. Second is the neck. The diagonal lines I drew here represent the neck muscle, which connects just below the ear and stretches down to where the 2 clavicles meet. Next is the trapezius, which connects from the neck to the farthest point on the clavicle. The clavicle are these 2 bones. Next is the deltoid, which is the most important part of anatomy, in my opinion. This shape is one of the more irregular ones, and picturing how it moves when the arms are raised or angled makes it more difficult to learn. The deltoid on the front moves like this, and it looks like this from the back. While we're on the back, let me point out how the deltoid is directly connected to the scapula or shoulder blade. As the deltoid moves, so does the scapula. Now is the chest, which is connected to the arm at the same point the deltoid is. This also means that as you raise the arm, the chest moves too. Now we have the rib cage. Then after that is the upper arm, which can be still simplified as just a cylinder. For the lower arm, it has a more irregular shape. One side of the lower arm is straight while the other has a curve to it. Now we have the midsection. This area is unlike the rib cage or pelvis as it's not solid. This is the part that will flex and twist as your character bends and moves. This right here is the pelvis. Easy one here, we have the upper leg, then the knee, which is a diamond shape, and then the lower leg. Lastly, we have the back, which is simplified into this large shape. The back is also connected to the upper arm, so again, as the arm raises, the muscles of the back will move with it. Okay, that's all pretty tough. But good news, I made these anatomy diagrams based on a posable 3D model. What I recommend is using this 3D model on easy pose, while keeping these diagrams as reference for clarification of how these muscles connect and move. But if you're able to, I'd recommend buying the full version for $18. It has the most accurate manga proportions of any anatomy poser I've used. With that, I'll end it here. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped.